This is Midday Live. Our top stories for this afternoon. Teachers suspend strike action following Monday's meeting with President Mahama at the Flagstaff House here in Accra. And on the fine front, Zambia's former President Banda pleads not guilty to a charge of abuse of power during his time in office. My name is Wendy Lai and I'll be taking you through Midday Live for this afternoon. So do stay with me for the details of these stories and many more lined up. A closer look at the stories now, and the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Marietta Buropong is worried about poor reportage from the courts. She has called for circumspect that would yield a greater sense of that belief in the judicial system.
The opening of the criminal session of the High Court commenced with a hearing of a case, the Republic versus Kofi Seidu and Padmo Goodwill for murder and conspiracy to commit murder of an American church minister and investor in 2010. Before the hearing, though, was a critical procedure of constituting a jury for the trial by High Court Judge Justice Charles Quist. While the event was a formal court process, it also formed part of bringing justice to the doorstep of the citizenry. The jurors were selected after thorough investigations into their backgrounds, and the trial judges offered some advice. Attorney General and Minister of Justice Marietta Buropong also encouraged the media to be objective in their court reports.
Law and justice are the heart of all human activity and societal development. Therefore, to be selected to participate in the administration of justice is the highest civic duty and must be undertaken with all the seriousness it deserves.
Supreme Court Judge Justice J.B. Akamba represented the Chief Justice.
You're still watching Midday Live, and like I did say early on education, the teachers have suspended their strike action following Monday's meeting with the president at the Flagstaff House. And according to our labor correspondent, he just told us this, and we will be bringing you more in our subsequent bulletin. But you're still watching Midday Live. The Chief of Praso District Hospital lacks an X-ray machine. The medical superintendent, Dr. John Benjamin Annan, said the hospital refer patients to hospitals in Cape Coast. A report by Edward Balami.
The medical superintendent, Dr. Annan, said the hospital needed a facelift to render effective services to the growing population of the district. He said the hospital again needed more staff to replace the aging ones, adding they had been compelled to keep one midwife on contract to help the few.
Looking at the delivery pattern at our maternity block, we are talking of about 2,000 deliveries every year, which is way too high for the current number of midwives. We also have problems with infrastructure. We also need an X-ray facility. We also need a laundry. I think if we should get this, at least it will more or less place us in a better position to carry on with a better healthcare delivery in the district.
The midwifery officer, Agatha Lawe, also spoke about some challenges at the maternity ward.
Sometimes you see one midwife on duty from morning to evening. That is not helping us. The maternity block itself is too small. Sometimes labor cases come and then they sleep on the benches. You can imagine someone in labor and then there's no bed. Then you tell her to sleep on the bench. It's not comfortable. So we are pleading with the government, the philanthropists, and all to come and help us.
In another development, the bridge linking Twifo Praso and other communities in the Twifo Atimokwa district and the western region is fast deteriorating. The bridge, which was constructed in the 1920s for rail services and later converted for other vehicles to access, has its metals wearing out. Drivers take more than the required number of passengers and charge extra due to the nature of the bridge. The road is not good. We are playing with the government to repair it for us.
We still stay in Triple Pass and we focus on education there.
Building handed over in 2005 is fast deteriorating and poses danger to the workers. The ceiling is falling off and window frames hanging. Most of the offices leak anytime it rained. Cabinets are wearing out and carpets folded because it gets soaked on rainy days. We're told a recent storm blew off a window frame together with the louver blades.
Rain is a threat, and the fear is that we have torrential rains here because this place is a forest area, so it blows in like that, and you really have to run out of the office, and you don't know what will happen to you when you get outside. So we are in danger, and we are appealing that the roof, it has to be re-roofed immediately.
On the visit one rainy day, we met workers moving chairs away from being soaked and others mopping the wet floor.
Immediate maintenance should be done at the education office, especially all the rooms here.
The Education Directorate is saddled with several other challenges.
We have lost some of our files. So the danger is that even though we have tried to protect them, they are not being protected enough. So we are likely to lose more files. Even machines, they are not protected from rain. Water touches the screen and even the keyboard, then you have damaged it. It will surprise you, as large and beautiful as the building looks outside, because of the leakages. We have a lot of mice. There are a lot of mice that are feeding on our files.
We've seen that they have their roofing almost ripped off, and when it rains, it doesn't augur well for a district like ours. But we are waiting for the Disassembly Common Fund with a view to getting the money and then purchasing the roofing sheets so that the necessary action could be taken to repair.
Now, do you know that some communities in Accra are named after events, features, and the ethnic tribe that lived there? Solis Fefeti reports that names have been corrupted and mispronounced for ages.
Names depict identity, and like humans and objects, towns and communities are identified by their names. Some communities are named based on the ethnic tribe that lives there, while others get their names from identifiable features. In some cases, places where special events occur are also given names in remembrance. Wondering about some communities in Accra and their names, I interacted with the Wulomo of Osu Klote, Numo Nako Agbeti II. He taught me the correct pronunciation of his title and the story behind it.
Assuming you are sleeping and you are dreaming, it's not just a dreaming, but they are giving you a message to give to your people.
To my amazement, he told me the capital of the Lejokuku Krowo Municipal Assembly is not pronounced Teshi.
There are a lot of stones in the town.
I can call it Teshi, but maybe you are not a gun, so you can't follow what I mean. So if I say Teshi, you can say Teshi.
Years ago, some people seeking refuge and greener pastures discovered a piece of land and decided to squat there to make it their settlement. They beckoned other people to also find a place and squat, said in local parlance as Kotobabi. So what is the story behind Nungwa?
Something smelling better, like good perfume. There was water there. When they were immigrate from, they meet so many rivers. Before they say, oh, there's good water here.
Nima, as we call it, was discovered by a chief known in the Ghana language as Ni, hence the name of the community. Dansuman is no different.
le akwa ni manch konfen shakeni goya jejeme yo amenye na ameche nima shafele nima no mene ka shigbere jeji nima moko ya to danso ma ne ke gbe wo je moko first settle again ne ke gbe wo je danso.
Jowulu, for instance, was a very big valley, so settlers decided to give it that name. But what is the right pronunciation?
Jaw is something like valley, a big valley. Jaw, Wulu, something big. Jowulu.
Telling me the history, I gathered most of these names were corrupted because non-Gas were unable to pronounce them correctly. So if you find yourself in a community, take the trouble to find out the correct pronunciation of the place and the story behind it, because our traditions will always live with us.
You're welcome back. It's still Midday Live on TV3. Poor quality service from telecommunication companies has led to consumer complaints and dissatisfaction. Call dropping, costs to business and social relationships, and call delays have been some of the complaints raised by some mobile phone users. Usual response like the number does not exist, the number you're calling is out of the coverage area, and annoying advertising texts have become the refrain of some of mobile operators. This afternoon, I have in the studio Kwekuse Chiado. He's the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications. Good afternoon. Thanks for your time.
Good afternoon, Wendy.
Are you satisfied with the service of the telcos in this country?
There are some bad days. There's some days, and I experience it, you experience it, those watching experience it. So there are some really bad days. But when there are bad days, you should ask why. What's going on? Because it's not in the interest of mobile phone networks that have invested nearly $6 billion to prevent you from accessing the network. How can they justify the investment? The managers have targets to meet. It's not a royal position. You don't hold it for life, and if you don't meet your targets, you could lose your job.
But the consumers are on the other side are paying for the service they're asking for.
Of course, when you access it and you use it, you pay. But when you can't access it, you're not paying. You pay for every second of call, for example, that you make. My point is that there's no gain to the network operator to prevent a subscriber from accessing the network. The network operator wants you to stay on that line for as long as you want, if not beyond what you want. Indeed, they are in some instances, even when you run out of credit, you can carry on talking. And of course, when you top up, then it's deducted. So it's in their interest to keep you on the network. But there are glitches. So, and that's what I mean by there are bad days.
So is that a yes or a no for you? Are you satisfied or not?
I'm satisfied.
Why?
I'm satisfied because 99% of the time your call goes through.
It's not always like that.
No, but that's 99% of the time. I'll give you an example. For example, I mean, in a typical day, you could have as many as 5 million calls. The network operator is within its target set by the regulator. If 1% of those calls cannot go through, or their call drops, 1% of 5 million is 50,000. If even 1% of those 50,000 write to a newspaper or call a television station to complain, that's 500 people. You know, I've considered there are bad days, and there are reasons why you have bad days. But even on a regular day, that 1% is still It's still a lot, but it can't distort reality. Because when your call goes through, on those days when you have no problems, you don't pick up the phone and call the radio station and say, my calls went through.
We have problems and we complain.
Yes.
That is why we have channels and avenues for complaints. Let me give you an example. I had credit on my phone yesterday. I'm giving a practical example. My bundle was over, so I had to pay as you go, as we call it here. So I think I left my internet on. After the time I woke up, after 2 hours, my credit got finished.
You left it on?
I left it on.
What were you,
but I thought I wasn't downloading. It was just on.
Well,
I tried reaching the telco I was using, and nobody picked up.
Okay. First of all, let me say this. If you're unhappy with your network operator, there are 6 network operators. And that's why the government established this regime, this policy regime, where you don't have a monopoly like in other utilities. There are 6 network operators. You can switch. There's mobile number portability. You can switch and still keep your number.
But that doesn't mean that because there's mobile number portability, if I have complaints, I shouldn't do it. Does that mean that these telcos should relax?
No, I'm not saying that. First of all, they cannot afford to relax, because if you relax, you lose your customer. Your customer will punish you.
Because we have a habit of Ghanaians saying that I've used this number for a very long time, I can't change. Our number portability has really not gone down well with a lot more people. So even if they still have problems, they say it on television, we go to the media houses, complain about it, but it's the same old thing. There's still no change.
So that's what I'm saying. If you're not happy with your network operator, there's mobile number portability. You get to keep the same number and you switch to a different network operator. That doesn't exist in many regimes. So you've got that opportunity to change.
But should that make them relax on their efficiency? Because all the telcos do have problems. It could be one where and the other there.
First of all, the fact that there's competition means you cannot relax, because you've got targets as a management to meet. All right, and you cannot lose to your competition. That's one. Number 2, if you go to a different network operator and you get the same problems, you go to a third network operator, you get the same problems, you've got to ask why. It means that there are fundamental problems that are outside the control of a network operator. Nobody will sink $6 billion and sit back, cross their leg, twirl their fingers, and do nothing in a competitive environment like we have here.
But the NTA does charge them for these
Thank you very much. You're making my
point. So
it
means that the consumer plays a key role here.
In other words, it means that where the network operator breaches its performance targets set by the regulator, they get punished.
But is that enough? Imagine if I have a very important call, or Kofi Menu has an important call, he has a deadline to meet, and then his call drops. What happens to him? He is a consumer. Yes, the NCA is charging them, but he's lost his business.
First of all, if the network operator is within the target set by the regulator, they're within their target, and these targets are based on international best practice. So that will happen. Secondly, you as a subscriber can change to another operator. But I'm saying, if you're still not happy with the service that another network operator is giving you, then it means there are fundamental problems that need to be addressed, such as fiber cuts, cuts to cables. In 2011, by the end of the third quarter or so, there were a little over 400 cuts to cables. In 2011, by the end of the third quarter, there were over 700 cuts. In fact, we've just done the total for the entire industry, including Glo, and it's more than 1,600 cuts to fiber optic cable. If a cable is cut, you can't access your network.
So what is your outfit doing to help?
So we're working together with the Association of Road Contractors, because over 3/4 of the incidents of fiber cuts are due to road construction. And it's a good thing that we've got lots of road construction, and maybe it's a factor of the road construction activity, the number of them, may be a factor there. But we're working together with them. We met them, for example, last week. We're going to work together with them to do sensitization all the way down to the field with the excavator drivers. When you see these caution tapes, it means that there's a fiber optic cable here. If you cut it, you're denying yourself a phone call and thousands of others. It costs us a lot of money. It costs in excess of 17,000 Ghana cedis.
But we see these things happen every day.
To repair a single cut to cable. Recently, Galamsey people, especially in the central and western region, are cutting fiber optic cables. Then you've got vandalism, people stealing the cable. Some of them think they can do something with it, but especially with the copper, they export them. Getting national security involved in these things. So now these may sound like things that we keep repeating, but the truth can't change. That's a fact. You've got power outages that also affect us. Power outages affect you. It affects network operators as well. We've got more than 3,000 cell sites. Each one of these cell sites have to be backed by industrial size generator. So, the power is out for 12 hours. You've got to power, the generators to ensure that
someone might say that, yes, you have mentioned these challenges, construction works going on, this is happening, that is happening, but should the consumer or the subscriber suffer for these issues that you have raised?
It's not only the subscriber that's suffering. The network operator suffers when the subscriber suffers.
But someone will say that I am not supposed to do the work of the network operator. Yes, you're charging me, you're making your money, so you have to guard your gates. I am not supposed to do that for you.
Yes, but that is why the network operators are doing something about it.
Is that enough? Are they doing enough from your very own point of view?
They are doing a lot. Yes, we're doing enough to resolve these things. I mean, a couple of months ago in New York, when there was a storm in the eastern seaboard, there was no communication services.
But they were putting measures in place to work at it quickly. But here in Ghana, yes, we see construction works, there are cable cuts, but it takes a very long time before we do get solution. No. And that is
whenever fiber is cut, it's identified by the network operator. It's all digital, so the spot where it's happened, they can identify it. They rush to go and fix it as quickly as possible, because every minute is loss of revenue to the operator. So there are people with eagle eyes looking out for these things. But I want to just say a couple of things about the bigger picture. In addressing customer complaints, we should not lose sight of the big picture. In Ghana, the government derives about 10% of all its revenue from network operators, mobile network operators. About 37% of our revenues goes to government in the form of taxes. In fact, Africa-wide, 4.4% of Sub-Saharan Africa's GDP came from mobile phone operators, contributing $32 billion to the economies of Sub-Saharan Africa. Just imagine the difference that having a mobile phone makes to your work. And I'm glad that you talked about the impact that people feel when they are unable to access the network, and reverse it. What difference today having a mobile phone makes to you compared to 10 or 15 years ago? Surely it works. If it didn't work, people wouldn't wake up in the morning and take their phone with them. In fact, when you're going to work, when you leave home and you leave your mobile phone by mistake, if you can, you will do everything you can to go back for it.
Just like the way when my call drops, I also want it to work because it's very, very important.
And the reason why you go back for it is, in spite of the few call drops, altogether, you're better off with it than without it.
But these challenges have to be solved. Briefly, before I let you go, the way forward.
Well, the way forward is collaboration, working together with policymakers, with the regulator, and also sensitizing the public. And that's why I'm here, for people to understand that when your call doesn't go through, the network operator also suffers. Government revenues also suffer. And so when you come across people engaged in vandalism, digging the ground to take out fiber optic cables and so on. Please call the attention of security agencies, because they may be interrupting services that you desperately need, and everybody desperately needs. And so we want public attention to go to this infrastructure that serves all of us.
Okay. Well, thank you very much indeed. Kweku Sechiato is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, and we're looking at the telcos in this country. Next is business with Kweku Timi. Take it away, Kweku.
Well, many thanks, Wendy Lai, for that insightful interview with Kweku Sechiato. We'll be getting you more details of such events on our local front. But let's do some business now. And this afternoon, the country is projected to become a net exporter of butternut squash under the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, and that is SADA. Well, Komla Kluche reports that over 200 headquarters have returned to work on the SADA-initiated project and are appealing for their own return home.
Tamaligu and Kukobilam are farming communities in the Savelugu Nanton municipality. Fetching firewood and charcoal production are other job opportunities. The assembly has classified the two villages among the least developed. Salifu Ramatu was kidnapped to Accra some 7 years ago and narrates her ordeal as a Kayayu.
I worked under demeaning conditions as a head porter. I was earning 1 cedi 50 pesos a week. This farm will help my family and community at large.
She is heaving a sigh of relief following her return to join Suglo Villa Farming Group. Some 200 head porters have returned home to work on an over 300-acre community butternut squash farm under the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority project with logistic support from Plus One Investment. Butternut squash is high in nutrient value and has ready international market. The vegetable matures within 100 days. The two dry seasonal fruit is cultivated under irrigation farming on all fields currently in the 3 northern regions. Some 50,000 metric tons of the vegetable have been harvested and exported from some farms in the northern region under the SADA program.
At least the net profit of each 40-footer container is supposed to be between 8,000 to 10,000 pounds. So you can imagine if you multiply, let's say, the range of 8,000, 9,000, an average of, let's say, 9,000 pounds per the 120 40-footer containers that we're expecting. You can imagine the net return, export return that this country is going to get per season, not per year.
Starting of this farm encountered difficulties from the beginning. It's been 61 days within which planting was done. Part of the farm is greeny and fruity, but other sides of it has challenges. This has been a result of water from the irrigation project not getting close to the side of the farm, the western side of the farm. That has been a difficulty, but the patience that these farmers have had all this while is what is encouraging them to ensure that the produce from the farm will be on the calendar of butternut squash being the #1 produce from the municipality. Komla Kluche, TV3 News.
So very shortly, you might want to go to the commodity markets and enjoy some figures we're getting from Bloomberg commodity prices. But even before that, let's just look at the local front and find out how gold production has performed so long as Ghana's production level is concerned. Now, Ghana recorded a 17% increase in gold production in the year 2012. Production climbed to 4.2 million ounces from 3.6 million ounces in 2011. The 2012 figure beats the Commission's forecast of 3.9 million ounces. The Minerals Commission attributed the increase in output mainly to rising prices that encouraged higher output by companies. Gold prices averaged $1,668 an ounce in year 2012 from $1,572 an ounce in a year earlier. Ghana produced 2.97 million ounces of gold in year 2010. Output was originally seen rising in 2011, but in the end shrank as a number of firms focused on longer-term maintenance and expansion projects rather than maximizing existing production. Australian miner Adamus Resources poured its first gold in January last year. Newmont's second gold mine at Achem, located about 125 kilometers, that's around 80 miles northwest of Accra, is expected to start commercial production in year 2013 with as much as 450,000 ounces annually. Bauxite also rose 662,925 metric tons in year 2012 from 410,918 tons a year earlier. For those of you who just joined us, you're still on Midday Live. Let's talk about energy now, away from some mineral resources. Electricity consumers want electricity company to adhere to its schedule for power distribution across the country. While inconsistencies in the current load exercise, they complain, are heavily hurting productivity.
The Electricity Company of Ghana has made it clear it is currently unable to distribute power at full capacity due to the limited supply from the Ghana Grid Company and the Volta River Authority. Load shedding appeared the most viable option. Consumers of electricity are, however, unhappy with the management of the exercise.
For here, there's nothing going on. All we see is lights on, lights off, any time and any day. And the best thing we do for now is just call to find out whether there's light before you can come to work.
We don't have any schedule for the light off. So we don't know the time it will go off, the time it will come. We just come in the morning. When it goes off, you have to go home.
Printing houses at Accra Newtown are already feeling the pinch. The lights go off and return at unknown times. They are unable to meet deadlines.
They come in with the work, and when there's no lights, they go to where there's lights and work there. If it happens like that, we lose the customer, at the same time we lose the money. They should at least announce that this area will go off around 6 or that and data. Then we know that, okay, fine. We also know how to work and then to meet that time.
Sporadic supply of electricity has also resulted in the breakdown of machines.
What they do is they off the light at any time. Anytime they give us off and off, so our business is not moving. And the light is going off anytime, spoiling our machine. As I'm talking to you now, the engineers are there working. They spoil something on the machine that is costing me now 2,500 Ghana cedis. Because I don't even have the money to purchase that thing.
The director of operations at ECG attempted an explanation.
Along the line, we've had challenges. There have been times when maybe there's a little more generation loss, so we need to shed more load. There have been occasions where within our distribution network, we've had problems. So those areas have gone on fault.
He explained the schedule for the load shedding exercise.
The schedule in Accra is like this. If you go off daytime today from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., tomorrow you go off in the night from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And then the third day, you do not go off at all. That's the way the program runs in Accra.
So first in news, best in entertainment would ensure that we update you with all those details you need so long as business is concerned. My name is Kwekutimin. Later on in the day at 4:30 would come your way and we'll just simply talk about Forex news and also delve deeper into the commodity market. Until then, just enjoy the rest of your afternoon. But the life is not over yet. Stay with us shortly. We'll do some sports.
It's 7 GMT and Ghana's most dynamic breakfast duo, Nana Banamwa and Roland Volker, bring you a full breakfast bouquet made up of interesting news, hard-hitting interviews, tips, weather updates, and sports to get you started for the day. Don't be left out. Join Nanaba and Roland for breakfast live on 7 GMT every weekday, only on TV3.
Thanks for staying. This is still Midday Live. Well, I did tell you early on when I started the bulletin that teachers have suspended their strike after meeting the president at the Flagstaff House yesterday here in Accra. But early on, our reporters went out to find out the situation. That was before we did hear that the teachers have suspended their strike. So we have the story for you from the Ashanti region. You're still watching Midday Live. We're trying our best to get you that very story, but remember you can get interactive with us on Facebook and Twitter is News on TV3 or short code 1734. You can quickly send your comments. So there you have the visuals from Kumasi.
Well, today is the 26th of March 2013, and it is the 7th day since teachers laid down their tools to register their displeasure on the way Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has handled their concern. Well, yesterday the President, His Excellency John Mahama, met with the various teacher union groups to plead with them to come back to class. The NAT President, Samuel Doe, hinted to the media that they will call off the strike temporary, effective from today. But then we are in some schools today and it seems the strike has not been called off. Teachers are not on campus. At least you can find no single teacher on campus. But then we have some students with us. They are the third year students who are due to write their BEC examination in June. We will ask them, even though they are no teachers on strike in class, but then we will ask them why they are here today. Good morning. What's your name?
My name is Grace Champon.
Which one are you?
Please, I'm Form 3.
We've seen that there are no teachers on campus. Why are you here today?
Please, because we are here for our final year, so we want to achieve something in our life, so that we want to learn, so that you cover the topic that the teachers are not able to capture it. So that's why we are here today.
So since last week, since the 7 days, has any teacher come to conduct classes to you since you arrived to your final year?
No teacher has come here, but the headmistress came here on Monday to Friday. Today she didn't come. Even yesterday she was here. I don't know why she didn't come today.
So what appeal do you have for your teachers? Because we learned they are supposed to come back today.
So we are here to beg them to come back to school so that they can cover the topic that we have not read there. So they should come here. We plead with them.
So we also have another student here with us who is also going to tell us why he's on campus today since there are no other teachers. What's your name?
My name is Suka Kuju.
And which form are you?
I'm Form 3.
So why are you here today? Because we can't see any teachers.
Because you are the final student of the school, so you can't stay home and be saying that the teachers are not here, so you can't come in. We can learn our own, so that's why we are here.
So how do you learn? If you say you learn on your own, how do you do? Do you get someone to come and teach you?
Sometimes you have those people who are good in some subject. So because of that, the one who is good at maths will come and lead us. After that, we go to another topic.
Okay, thank you very much. You two, you are due to write your exams in June, and teachers have not been in school for the past 7 working days. How is it going to affect your exams?
If the teachers don't come here and teach us, we are going to lose some of the, even the more, they did not cover all. some of the mock we cannot do it. Even today, we were started to start mock this week because of the strike. They didn't come in to teach us. That's why we are here today.
So, what appeal do you have for the teachers? Because they met with the president yesterday and they were supposed to be back in class today.
We are pleading on the government that they will pay their salary to them so that they will come and teach us.
Well, you heard some of the students. They are pleading with the government to negotiate well with the teachers and also the teachers to come back.
All right, so that was the picture in the Ashanti region before we did hear that the teachers had suspended their strike. So like I have been saying since the beginning of the bulletin, the teachers have suspended their strike action. They're going back to the classrooms. We'll bring you more on that very story in our subsequent bulletins. This is still Midday Live. Joel Champon, the Red Tiger, has sports next.
Welcome to the sports segment. We have all the interesting updates right after this.
Sports News is brought to you by Guinness. Reach for greatness.
All right, this afternoon, let's start with the senior national team, the Black Stars coach Kwesi Appiah, who says he's not under pressure to deliver for the Stars as coach. He made this comment at the post-match conference after the 4-0 defeat over Sudan at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in the World Cup qualifier.
Once you get into coaching job, you are straight into pressure in the first place. But it's how you manage it and then how you handle the situations that comes across. So it was an important game, not for me, but for all Ghanaians. And you know, main aim is to try and qualify the nation to the World Cup. And to do that, we needed to win today's game to be able to progress to the next stage. Saying that, I believe that tactically, you know, the players were really disciplined and they played their best to get a win for the nation.
Well, so you had Coach Kwesi Appiah there. Well, still staying with the senior national team, the Black Stars, and to Spartak Moscow striker Abdul Majid Waris, who did score a goal in that 4-0 win over Sudan at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. The player says he was inspired by Black Star striker Samoa Jan to go all out there in that game. Spartak Moscow striker Abdul Majid Waris has praised Samoa Jan for the role he played in the Black Stars Sudan game at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. Abdul Majid Waris got his first goal for the senior national team, making his second appearance for the Stars.
I'm very happy and I'm very excited about the winning generally, and then also Samoa Jan. This is my first time I've played with him, and then he was always behind me, giving me confidence and then talking to me, which I think was great. And then the success is for the whole nation, not all about scoring, but for the getting the 3 points for the nation, which I think is very important.
Well, so you had that Black Star player there, Abdul Majid Waris. Let's turn our attention away from the Black Stars and to the Under-20 Championship currently underway in Algeria. And tonight there will be some crucial semi-final games. Ghana will be taking on Mali, and Coach Selassie is eyeing the enviable title.